Welcome in, everyone, to Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe. How you doing, Rich?
Good. Playoff hockey time.
Hey, Stanley Cup playoff hockey is not disappointed. Let me tell you that.
No.
This is why we love this sport, even when our team's not in it.
Even when our team is not in it.
You cannot even fathom how great this first round has been. If you're a hockey fan, we got something to talk about later under that. We're growing new fans here. I think new fans are starting to come into the sport of hockey every day. So. We got a story that's going to tie into that later in the episode. We have a really fun quick hitter segment tonight. Really lighthearted, brighten up your day, end your day off really well. If you're watching on the live stream right now on YouTube, we appreciate it. Facebook, Twitter, hit follow, hit subscribe. We appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to end this episode very lighthearted because guess what? Stanley Cup playoff hockey is not lighthearted. There's nothing lighthearted about it.
No, not at all. Have you noticed
it's been hard hitting, man.
Since there's not as many, let the refs let them get away with a lot more stuff. The games go by a lot quicker. It seems like they fly by.
It has been. I mean, it's like this every playoffs. I get that. Like the rules kind of change a little bit. Like you said, the refs let them get away with a lot more. But some of these hits, and we'll talk about it. We're going to do a first round Stanley Cup playoff recap. That's going to be our opening face-off tonight because there's a lot to cover with what happened in the first round. Rich, you look a little upset over there.
I am a little upset, Chad.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, poor Boston. Just very disappointing. I hate it for those guys. They played so well all season, but you're not guaranteed anything, and you're what you do in the season doesn't mean anything in the playoffs. So,
but hey, guess what? You got a little bit of retribution because the team you dislike the most, the Tampa Bay Lightning, could not have lost in more heartbreaking fashion.
Oh my gosh, those guys. Yeah.
3 overtime losses in one series, all at home.
All at home.
The Maple Leafs finally get their first round series victory. They've already started off second round with a bang by losing to that same team, the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
So they got to deal with one Florida team, and then they got to turn around and deal with another Florida team. But
it's crazy.
This is why we love the playoffs right here.
Yep. It's good that the Leafs did get that first round win, though, I think. So now I think they said that Buffalo is the next team in line who haven't won a playoff series since 2007. So they're the ones holding the record now and not Toronto anymore.
And as we go live tonight, everybody, Dallas and the Seattle Kraken, Dallas Stars, Seattle Kraken are dropping the puck on game one. And it took like just a couple minutes for Joe Pavelski it's his first game back since getting knocked out of the first round in that really questionable hit that he took against the Minnesota Wild. He's back for the Dallas Stars. Gotta love that for them. They're happy to have Joe Pavelski back. The elder statesman, the still incredibly gifted, talented offensive player. He scores a wrister, and I just put it on Twitter. If you are a fan of hockey and you take your bias out of it, when you see this wrister that Joe Pavelski just scored to put the Dallas Stars up 1-0, that's the stuff you sign up for right there. Also, this is the first time the Seattle Kraken have been down in the playoffs. Giving up the first goal, I should say.
Wow.
Giving up the first goal of the game. They scored the first goal in every game against the Colorado Avalanche. So that's they gotta deal with some early adversity for the first time these playoffs.
Yeah, they're not used to that, I guess.
So we're gonna break it down. First round recap of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll continue to watch the Stars and the Kraken as this game goes on, as we do our live episode. This is episode 183 of Catfish on Ice, presented by DraftKings, and Raycon is back on board as a sponsor. Raycon wireless earbuds. We'll tell you more about them. Of course, DraftKings has been with us since the beginning. So we appreciate them. We're going to tell you about both of our amazing sponsors later in this episode. Of course, we are part of the Hockey Podcast Network, which is a large network of hockey podcasts. They do live game watch-alongs, everything you could imagine. So you need to be following at HockeyPodNet on Twitter and YouTube to get all that good stuff. Bring it back to the Predators here. We are a Predators podcast after all, even though they're not in the playoffs and whatnot. It kind of stinks to not be invited to the party. I shared a Michael Scott The Office meme earlier about how it feels kind of sucks to not be invited and not be a part of it.
It does.
For all the Office lovers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Michael Scott didn't like it when he wasn't invited to a party. That's kind of where we're at right now. The Predators were not invited to the party, but it's okay.
Yeah, It stinks. Mike Twitter is here. All of our teams are out now. Yeah. Oh, and then he said, sorry.
So yeah, all of our backup teams. I mean, our backup teams. For me, I was secretly kind of rooting for the Lightning. Don't come at me, Rich.
I knew it.
I mean, I tend to cheer for teams that I'm associated with and where I live, and I do like some of those players on the Lightning. I like Stamkos. Stamkos is my guy. But
he's not one.
I'm not nearly as upset as you are about the Bruins. I'm not that diehard about the Lightning like you are. I know you truly have a deep fandom for the Bruins, and I respect that.
I do.
I didn't lose sleep over the Lightning losing. I didn't. It kind of stuck.
Yeah, I didn't lose sleep, but it's super disappointing. So
it is very disappointing.
I mean, it's just and you don't know what's going to happen next year with them. Bergeron could retire. David Krejci could retire. They don't have enough money apparently to cover all of their free agents in the offseason. So you just don't know what's.
I'm going to tell you, Rich, about a team that should be way more upset, and really more the fans of this particular team. They should be way more upset than either Avs fans or Bruins fans. And I know that blows your mind a little bit because you're talking about the defending Cup champions going out in the first round. That's a pretty big bombshell.
That's huge.
And then, of course, the Bruins, one of the most historic regular seasons ever, go out in the first round. I actually think there's another team that should be maybe a little bit more on panic mode right now. But we'll get to that. We're going to talk about our top Preds wins of the season for everyone watching live, listening live, or if you listen the next day through one of your favorite podcast platforms. First of all, we appreciate you just as much as our live viewers. Tweet the show at Catfish Ice. Tell us what are your best Preds wins of the season, like just the ones that stick out to you the most, the ones that were the biggest season-changing wins. We're going to throw out our top 5, top 6. We're going to list them off. We got some good ones here. I got some good ones listed that really changed the season, that had some big implications for the season. We want to hear those from you. Please share that. Mike Twitter's already hopping in here. We will save his comment. We're going to go back to that. Mike Twitter, hey, we're going to go back to your comment, all right? We're going to share it live. Hey, thank you for hopping in, Mike Twitter, on that one. Also, you can't help when your team doesn't make it into the playoffs. You can't help but be a little what if type of mentality.
Yep.
What if this happened? What if that happened? What if this could have happened? That's literally the life of a sports fan. What if this broke our way? What if this happened? So we're going to break down some of our biggest what if scenarios from the Preds season. Those are going to be good to reflect on. And also, like as I said, we are going to end this episode with some really good stuff to just make you feel all good inside.
Fun things.
We got a hockey related video and 2 really good videos that'll just make you feel good inside.
Yep.
That we will share. And we were going to break it down like hockey analysts, each one of these videos.
That'd be good.
That will close out episode 183. So let's get it all going here, guys, with first round Stanley Cup playoffs recap, our opening face-off of Catfish and Ice, episode 183. So, Rich, how about you just break it all down for us? Let's get it all out of the way. The biggest storyline, obviously, of the first round was historically the most dominant regular season team ever, the Boston Bruins, go out in the first round. You thought they were cruising in that first round series. You're playing a Florida Panthers team who snuck into the playoffs very much like we were hoping the Predators would do.
Mm-hmm.
Predators beat the Panthers twice. In their season series. I actually went to that game against the Panthers in Sunrise, Florida, as I've mentioned. Right. Saw them live. They're a very fast team. They're a very offensively skilled team, but they have a lot of deficiencies, which is why they were on that playoff bubble. But they put it all together and struck while the iron was hot against the Bruins team. Let me ask you right now, Rich, what do you think happened, man? What do you think happened with the Bruins here to cause something like this?
Well, they revealed after the series was over a couple of things. So Bergeron didn't play in the first. He didn't come in until game 5, and he was playing, they said, with a herniated disc. I know a lot of hockey players will play hurt, but apparently that was like super painful. And then the other big thing was apparently Linus Ullmark was hurt, and he had some kind of injury. They didn't say what it was, but something that didn't allow him to move as he normally moved, and it was apparently pretty painful. So I think they lost because of goalie mismanagement. They should not have rode Ullmark for all 6 games. If they knew he was hurt, they should have gave Jeremy Swayman a shot, and they could have stole one of those games. They had 3 or 2 chances to put it away, and they didn't. And just it is what it is. You're not guaranteed anything in the postseason. So yeah, it's just disappointing. Super disappointing, but
very disappointing. So when you look back at this series, it goes to 7 games. But when you look at the full series, the Bruins were up 3-1 in this series. And in game 4, they won 6-2. So it felt like you're up 3-1. You just won 6-2. Panthers are done. Good job stealing a game in Boston. Good for you. Pat on the back. But the Panthers, man, they kind of proved what their bread and butter is. They are a very highly offensively skilled team for all their deficiencies. They have a lot of offensive skill. And if you look at after that game 4, when they lost 6-2, they beat the Bruins 4-3 in game 5. That goes to overtime in Boston. Impressive steal. Game 6, they put up a 7th spot on the Bruins. The Bruins scored 5. So it's not like the Bruins weren't also bringing the offense. And then game 7, it goes to overtime again, and the Panthers win in overtime. The Bruins had a chance to end that. I don't know if you saw the clip.
Oh, yeah. They were up by a goal, and Florida scored with 59 seconds left in the period. So, yeah, and at that point, you're just like, oh, man, now it's going to go either way. You just don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, it's just weird. It's just, you're not guaranteed anything. And Ullmark did not look like himself. He was flopping around on the ice trying to stop pucks and just it just wasn't good. Just wasn't good. They should have played Swayman. It was
a tough one. Let's shift to another series that you will be way more pleased to talk about, Rich. That's the Maple Leafs Lightning series. Also, it goes to 6 games. But I mean,
the Lightning just crumbled, didn't they?
I know that it's way more heartbreaking for Boston fans because they saw their team have such an historical regular season. But I got to tell you, Lightning fans are hurting right now too because you get spoiled. You go to 3 straight cup finals. You win 2 of them. And then you go into this series against the Maple Leafs. First of all, a lot of the fans I talked to around here and the overall sentiment was this isn't the same Lightning team. We're not the same dynasty team anymore. That's what you heard
Sure.
a lot. But you're talking about a series where 3 of the 4 wins by the Maple Leafs in this series, it took overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And they won those games on Tampa's home ice.
Yep.
I'm not taking anything away from the Maple Leafs, but that is a crazy turn of events right there.
It is crazy, and the games were rough. They were very rough games. Tampa is really good at dishing out some punishment on players. They don't like it so much when you do it back to them. They kind of get a little crappy and just complain.
I would argue that Tampa is the most physical team in the East.
Yeah, they are. I would say so too. They were rough games, but yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said. I don't think they're quite the dynasty team as they used to be. And Vasilevsky, he's showing.
He stepped up. He stepped up later in that series, though. He did.
He did. He played. I can't remember which game. They all blend in after a while. But
game six goes to overtime, tied 1-1.
Yeah.
And the Leafs get the game winner in game 6. That was a really tough goal too. That was not Vasilevsky's fault. It was a deflection goal. It was just a battle of wills at that point. I mean, Samsonov also played a great series in net for the Maple Leafs. I think we overlook him. Samsonov is a great goalie that people are not talking about enough for the Maple Leafs. We're in a generation of so many great goalies that you forget some of the good ones because there's so many to keep track of right now.
Yeah.
We're watching Jake Ottinger right now against the Kraken for the Dallas Stars. He is another one that people don't talk enough about. We have so many great goalies. I think it's awesome for the league to have all these great goalies.
Ottinger just gave up 2 really quick goals, though. Seattle's winning 3-2.
Oh, what? 3-2?
Yeah. They were down 2-0. They just scored again. They just scored again. It's 4-2 right now. Wow.
6 goals in the first 15 minutes of this game.
Yeah. Yes, and Ottinger, he's let in 3 goals in the past 3 minutes.
All right, take everything back I said about Ottinger. No. One game doesn't change it. The Kraken. Wow. We're gonna kind of talk about this later in this episode. But Rich, the Kraken. When Preds fans, let's bring it back to the Preds here. When Preds fans think about the Kraken and not that player you don't want to talk about, but just overall. No, just overall in general. I think when we think about the Kraken, we think about, do we give them enough respect? Is what I'm thinking about here.
Yeah, I mean, they took down Colorado. I mean, that's a feat in and of itself.
I'm saying more going into the playoffs. Did we give them enough respect?
Nah, probably not. I don't think anybody did. Yeah, I agree.
I don't think so.
No, but they're playing really well now. That's for sure. They came together at the right time. So.
And we look at the Kraken way differently than we look at the Golden Knights when they became an expansion team.
Yeah, why is that? I wonder.
I mean, I think we were just very I just don't think we were used to expansion teams at that point. You hadn't had an expansion team in a while.
That makes sense. Yeah.
The Kraken come in, they had this cool logo, this cool name. They're in Seattle. Everyone wanted hockey in Seattle. It's quirky. It's the mascot. What's the mascot's name?
Oh, that ugly troll thing.
It's Bowie. I think his name's Bowie.
That's it. Bowie.
I mean, between Bowie and Gritty for the Flyers, you got nightmare fuel right there for you. If you want those two coming at you in your nightmares, be my guest.
And then Montreal's mascot, whatever his name is.
Shout out to the early days of Catfish and Ice. That was one of our first segments.
Oh yeah,
I think it was episode 5 or episode 6. We did. We ranked our mascots.
We were making fun of several of them. It was hilarious. It's good.
But I think everyone likes the quirky side of the Kraken. The team name.
Mike Twitter said Montreal's. Where's it at? Yuppie. That's their mascot.
UP in Montreal. Okay.
Oh.
I don't know. I think Bowie is actually more creepy than Gritty.
I agree.
But
I agree.
I still like the Kraken. I guess I'm giving them the kiss of death here, but I kind of want them to win it all now.
I'd be okay with that. That's not who I want to hitch my wagon to, but I'm all right with that. I'd be okay with that. They'll do what Las Vegas couldn't do and win in their second year or their first year or whatever. Isn't that Vegas, right? They went to was it their first season?
Vegas went to the Cup final their first season.
So Seattle can do it in their second. So that'd be kind of cool.
Oilers knock out the Kings in 6 games. That series was pretty close to start, but the Oilers kind of flexed their muscle there at the end. Jets just completely just waste of a playoff spot. I mean, they didn't get swept like the Predators did the season before, so I can't talk too much smack here, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask you. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you right now, Rich. Do you think the Predators could have done a better job against the Golden Knights than what the Jets put out? Because it's a fair question, because the Jets finished 3 points ahead of the Preds. And when you count all the injuries and all the things that happened surrounding the Preds, you can't help but wonder if they're a full-strength team, could they have put out a better showing than what the Jets gave us against the Golden Knights, losing in 5 games?
I think if they were full strength, they would have put up more of a fight. I think
they don't even have to be. They don't even have to be full strength. I'm going to just give you one player. Roman Josi.
I mean, that's a huge difference for sure. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I would like to throw Philip Forsberg in there too, but I don't even. He was out since February, so I'm not going to throw Philip Forsberg into it. Yeah,
but definitely Roman Josi, who went down very, very late in the season. And I know every team out there can say we had injuries, but to lose Roman Josi that late in the season, I will die on this hill. Yeah. It was the final death blow for the Preds as far as we can't overcome this.
Yep. I think if it was just the kids playing, I think it would be the same 4-1. They probably would have got one. If Roman Josi was playing with them, it might have been 4-2, maybe. I don't know. He's a huge difference maker. So, I don't know. If they're full strength, they might have been put up a little more of a fight too. So, yeah.
And let's shift to the Eastern Conference here for a second, because the Devils Rangers series went 7 games.
Did you get to watch the last game?
I did.
It was a great game. I loved it. I really liked it. I know it was a blowout, but that young goaltender for New Jersey, Akira Schmid, got a shutout. That was good stuff. Good stuff. Everybody had Rangers, and that's to win more too. Like go deeper for sure. But
that's another series where the Rangers jump out 2-0 in the series. A pair of 5-1 wins on the road.
Yep,
they're in the driver's seat. Yep. To win this series. And the Devils storm back to win 3 in a row. The Rangers come back to tie it at 3-3 in the series. You go back to New Jersey and the Devils take care of business. But I want to zero in on that hit. The very controversial one that happened on Timo Meier of the New Jersey Devils. Did you see that hit?
I did. Yeah, I did. That was I know they said on the broadcast that Timo Meier kind of put his head down a little bit and was looking down at the ice or whatever. And when he got hit, but it sure did look like Trouba threw his shoulder right into his face to me. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was definitely questionable, and he was hurt. I thought he was actually knocked out when I at first, because he was just kind of laying there not moving. But yeah, what did you think of it? Did you think the same? A little dirty?
So I'm going to pull the hit out here for everybody to watch on the screen. But before I do that, so everyone can kind of like judge themselves. I think that these hits are really tough to call in hockey. All right?
Yeah.
You don't
I
want to
agree.
the physicality of the sport, but at the same time, you want to protect guys from taking like lifelong brain trauma and injuries. So you're constantly toting this line of, yeah, we want to protect the sport. We want it to be physical. That's why we love hockey. But we also want to get all this crap out of the game where guys are headhunting.
Yes.
We
And
want
that's
to take
what
out the
it looked
headhunters.
like. That's what it looked like too. I look a little bit. And Truba's kind of a nasty dude from what I understand. So,
Well, let's. I'm gonna present it to the. Let me add it to the. So I'm gonna share it for everybody because I want to get everyone else's thought on the live stream here.
yeah. It was
Let's add it to the stream. Let's add it to the stream. So here's what you got here. You got Timo Meier. You can see him right there. He's about to enter the zone.
Yep.
I'm gonna push play here so everyone can watch it.
So right.
I mean, he lines it up.
He did, and the shoulder, you could just see him move his shoulder into his face, and regardless of whether Timo Meier had his head down or whatever, you can't tell me he did that on accident. I mean, it's just I don't know.
Let's watch it one. Let's watch it one more time. So he's skating into the zone. He does have his head down.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I mean, it's all the hardcore hockey fans want to beat the drum that that's a legal hit and that's a hard hit, that's a fair hit. I get it, but at what point do you want this sport to be kind of like has a little bit of control here? Hits like that are going to put guys into wheelchairs later in their life, just like what we're seeing with the NFL.
Yeah. Well, there was an Avs player that got hurt too off of a hit. I can't remember who it was, but he had like spine injury or something. I can't remember who it was though.
Yeah. And I mean, we've already heard this argument with the NFL. The NFL has already gone through this in terms of CTE, brain trauma. And I know the NHL is trying to get ahead of this because they're next. I mean, people are going to start coming after them. And I don't want to ruin the sport either. But a hit like that, you got to think about stuff like this here.
Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. I mean, if you're a lifelong hockey player and you're criticizing Timo Meier of skating with his head down, okay, I get that. But at the same time, you can't argue that Trouba is literally headhunting there.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So
Mike Twitter said, yeah, he teed up on him. Max Greenberg, our bud, is in here. I think it was technically clean, but definitely done with malicious intent. Yes, it was definitely.
Well, so Max is right there.
He is,
in the rule book, it is a legal hit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it was ugly.
But the NHL has a really tough, it has a tough decision to make here on how they want to keep carrying this game forward. It's tough, man. It's not an easy decision to make either way. I'm sure most of the hockey players say, hey, let's keep doing it how we do it. And I get that part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's, obviously it's super dangerous sport. People could get hurt. Look at Mark Borowiecki. He got pushed into the boards and hadn't played since. And we don't even know if he's going to play next year. Philip Forsberg got pushed into the boards and didn't play since February. And he was clearly on another planet when he got up off the ice. He didn't even know where he was. So, I mean, it's, you can definitely get hurt for sure, but I think they need to.
All right. That's our first round recap of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're watching the Kraken take on the Stars. It's first intermission, 6 goals in the first period, everybody.
Yep. Kraken scored 3 in about 3 minutes. So
4-2 game. Right when I was singing the praises of Jake Ottinger.
Jake Ottinger. Yep.
He's still a great goalie though. But tough. We'll have to see how this goes here. You know, the Stars were down 2-1 in the series against the Wild, so I don't question the resiliency of the Dallas Stars at all. So we'll see how this game continues to roll on as we roll through episode 183 of Catfish on Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, your hosts. We're about to get to our top 5 wins of the Preds season. We're going to throw out some honorable mentions as well. How about we go kind of in chronological order, and then at the end, we'll kind of like try to state what we think are the best wins.
Okay.
Is that fair, Rich? Is that fair?
That sounds good. Perfect.
All right. So I think the best win in chronological order was on October 27th. The 6-2 win over the St. Louis Blues, because I know they swept the Global Series, and that was kind of cool because you were one of the first 2 teams to play on the hockey calendar, but it was the San Jose Sharks, and they're a dumpster fire. They're like the worst team in the league, not even close. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't really count either one of those 2 wins as like one of the better wins of the season. I can't.
Maybe not a better win, but the cool thing.
Did you have one of those? Did you have one of those?
I did, not because of them beating San Jose, but just because of Roman Josi and Nito Niederreiter getting to play at home, and the fans were crazy, chanting their names and stuff. So they weren't pretty. Well, the first one was, but the second one was not a pretty win at all, but it was still cool for that reason. But yeah, that would have been the only reason. It's not like you said, it's San Jose. So
that's fair. That's fair. That is true in terms of seeing Niederreiter and Josi get to play in front of all those home fans. Yep. That was a really cool thing to see for sure. And also the exhibition game against SC Bern was really cool.
It was good. Yeah, I like that one too. That was a really good one.
But October 27th, you get a 6-2 win over the St. Louis Blues. The reason why I picked this as one of my first one, just in chronological order, is because the Predators, they were on a losing streak, a 5-game losing streak.
Yes.
The pitchfork, I know, Rich, I know you already remember this.
Mm-hmm.
The pitchforks were already out on John Hines at this point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
The honeymoon of the 2022-2023 season ended very, very abruptly. We didn't even make it to Halloween.
Nope. No. That was a good turnaround win, though, against the team that I don't like. So I was happy for that.
Well, for sure. And at that time, including myself, a lot of people thought the Blues could be a second-place team in the division, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all a lot wrong on that one, obviously.
But times changed, yeah.
But here's why I got this one circled more than anything. Looking back on it and watching the film a little bit and looking back at the game and remembering it, it was a full team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Goals. So all 6 goals from the Preds in this 6-2 win over the Blues were from 6 different players. You got a full team effort. That's pretty cool. Saros made 33 saves on 35 shots. So you got it from your goaltender. You got it from 6 different players who scored goals. 42 shots as a team. That seems like a distant memory.
Yeah, right.
We were lucky to hit 25 shots in a game there down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was that one game they didn't have 9 in the first 2 periods or something.
Yeah, they scored a power play goal in this game. It stopped a 5-game losing streak. Early in the season, you're trying to stop the bleeding and let it get away from you too quick, and you beat a division rival. So that was like the first one that really popped out at me when I'm like looking over the Preds wins this season.
Yep, that was a good one for sure.
Give me one, Rich.
Scanning through, I think one of the ones. Well, there's a couple of these teams. Well, it's the same team that they beat twice. The Devils. They beat the New Jersey Devils the first time on October 1st, and then later in this, or December 1st, and later in the season. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's I think that was at a time when the Devils were like cranked up, winning a lot.
So,
People
so
did
that's
not.
that's one of them I have on my list too, Rich. And I think it's arguably maybe one of the most exciting wins, if you want to say exciting, if you want to use that term.
Yep.
Maybe one of the more exciting wins of the season. We're talking about December 1st, that 4-3 win over the Devils on the road. This same Devils team that's now in the second round of the playoffs.
Yep.
And at this time, as Rich just said, at this time, the Devils were cooking. They were one of the most exciting teams in the league at this point.
Yep.
And I remember the roller coaster of this game because the Preds jumped out 2-0 in the first 60 seconds. And it was we're going back on memory lane here. We're all reflecting on the season right now as fans. So chime in if you're watching live on Twitter, or if you're listening the next day, hit us up at Catfish Ice or comment on YouTube. But that game, I remember the sentiment around the team was kind of like how it was the entire season.
Yep.
Not a lot of believers. Everyone was waiting on the Preds to just fall apart. They didn't believe in John Hines, yada, yada, yada. And you jump ahead 2-0 in this game against one of the NHL's best teams at the time. And you're thinking, wow, we're up 2-0 first 60 seconds. Guess what happens? Devils score the next 3 goals all in the second period. And I remember scanning on Twitter that night and seeing all the negative tweets about, see, the Preds just crap the bed again. They suck. They're this, they're that. All the naysayers out there. I'm not saying I'm not one of them sometimes, but that's what happened that night. I'm just reflecting here. That's all I'm doing.
Totally remember
and
all
then,
that.
Guess how this game winds up? You want to
like several of them.
Does anyone remember who scored the tying goal and the game winner in overtime without cheating? Without cheating.
It was Mikael Granlund, right? Was it? Who was it? I don't remember.
So Mikael Granlund, you're right. Mikael Granlund scored the tying goal.
Mike Twitter knows he was there.
Yeah. Who scored the game winner?
I cannot remember.
Who scored the game winner in overtime?
I cannot remember. Mike, I bet Mike knows.
There's Max Greenberg.
Max Greenberg.
We got some good fans, loyal fans here.
There it is. Joey.
So one guy got traded away, and the other guy had a season-ending injury in that very important game on December 1st.
Yeah.
Only one in that. Also in that game that I found really interesting, the Preds only had 1 power play in that entire game. The Devils had 5.
Yep. I remember that too. Yeah, I remember like everybody had written Nashville off and said, there's no way you're going to beat New Jersey. They're too quick. They're too young. You're just not, they're fast. You're just not going to do it. And I remember that being the going into the game or whatever. And they proved them wrong, as they do from time to time. I do totally remember that.
All right, let me go back. Let me go back like 3 weeks before that game. Kind of going chronological again here. Another team that just got eliminated from the playoffs, I should say, from that Devils team. November 12th, 2-1 win over the Rangers. This is why I circled this game, Rich. It was Parsonen's first NHL goal.
Oh, that's a good one.
Everyone remember that one? I remember Juuso Parssinen making his debut in that game, thinking, all right, let's see how this kid looks.
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah.
Let's see how he looks.
Yep.
So Parssinen scores his first NHL goal in this game against the Rangers, 2-1 win. Saros makes 34 saves on 35 shots. The Rangers go 0 for 5 on the power play. So big day for the Preds penalty kill there.
Yep.
So I feel like that's a pretty big one against a really, really good team. At that time in November, a lot of people got the Rangers as a cup contender, cup favorite, including our co-host, Kyle Perkins. Kyle Perkins had the Rangers winning it all.
Yep.
So that was a very impressive win at the time. And you got Parsons' first NHL goal. Got to circle that one.
Yeah, that is a good one. That is definitely a good one. So I'm scanning through. So here's another one that I forgot about. I don't remember the details of the game, but December the 19th, a 4-3 win in overtime over the Edmonton Oilers. That was snapped a 6-game losing streak by the Predators.
What game are you talking about again?
December 19th. They beat Edmonton 4-3.
So all right. So we don't share our games here. In this segment, me and Rich did not share our games, but we're on the same page here because I had this game on my list as well. December 19th, 4-3 win over the Oilers at home. I was at that game as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I have this game. I know the Preds didn't finish the deal and they didn't make the playoffs, but I still have this win over the Oilers on December 19th as a fork in the road season changer.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time, it kind of felt that the Predators were just going into the abyss.
Yeah. A 6-game losing streak.
And I remember going to that game feeling that way as a fan. I really do. I remember feeling that way. I saw Max Greenberg's there for proof. He says, I saw Chad at that 12-19 game. Yep. We talked. I think it was the first, second intermission. But yeah. It was a great game. And that was Tommy Novak's one of his first games. I think it was his season debut, actually.
Yep.
And he scored a big-time goal in that game. That was a game that kept going back and forth. Edmonton, so the Preds would jump up 1-0. Edmonton would tie it. Preds would make a 2-1 lead. Edmonton would tie it. It kept going back and forth. You kept waiting for Edmonton and Connor McDavid to just take over the game, put us out of our misery. Alex Carrier gets the overtime winner. 2 assists from Cody Glass in that game. That was a huge one. I felt like that was a fork in the road type of game of the season when the Preds really started turning it to a different level. Yeah,
and a couple of those 6 losses up to that point, they only lost by a point. They lost to Winnipeg 1-2. They lost to St. Louis 0-1. Ottawa 2-3. So they were kind of still trying to get things on the right track. They just couldn't get over the hump, and then beating Connor McJesus at home for an overtime win. It was a good game for sure.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was a fork in the road type of game for your season. Let's jump ahead to the new year. Let's jump into 2023. You can't leave this one out, everybody. Come on now. If you leave this one out, you didn't watch the Preds all season. January 5th against the Hurricanes. You know what's funny? All these games have a common correlation here.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Common correlation. They're all against playoff teams.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yep.
So this one is January 5th, a 5-3 win over the Carolina Hurricanes. That is the NHL Carolina history books.
Yep.
UC Saros makes 64 saves.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
I don't know if my heart rate has been any higher for a regular season game than that game right there. My heart rate's definitely been higher watching the Predators in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Can't argue that. No. But watching a regular season game, one of 82, just one of 82. I don't know if I've ever been that anxious and that edge of my seat, like can't breathe, like what is going to happen? Saros makes another save here. He makes another save there. The Hurricanes are just obliterating them in terms of shots on goal. How are we going to get out of this game and actually win it? Just to give you a perspective, if you forgot, in that game, the shots on goal were 67-25 in favor of the Rich can't even hold it in his laughter.
Oh, I totally remember it now. It's just
67-25.
It was, yeah. Wow.
And I gotta say something. I gotta admit something here. I am always someone who will admit when I was maybe wrong. But I'm normally not one of those people that likes to troll the other team's social media account.
Yeah.
But I can't help it with the Carolina Hurricanes. I can't help it. They're so annoying. I've never forgiven them for how ridiculous they were in that playoff series and how childish they were. And so right after that game happened, I got on Twitter and I looked up Carolina Hurricanes social media account, went to their little post that every team does when it says final score. I didn't tweet at anybody. I didn't talk crap to anybody, but I just wanted to see what they said. And every tweet under that post from a Canes fan was just pure joy for me.
Oh yeah. They like to, they're another one of those like to dish it out but can't take it scenarios for sure.
So 64 saves for Saros. That's tied for third most in NHL history. Rich, if you can guess the other three that are ahead of him, I'll go ahead and send you a check for $1 million right now.
I remember seeing who it was, but there's no way.
I mean, if you can get all three of them and you get it correct, I'll send you that check, but that check might bounce. It might bounce. But I'll send it to you.
I'm sure it was somebody like in the 1930s or something, right? Something crazy.
No, not. We don't even have to go that far back. No. So we've got. Let's start off with Joe Daly with 64 saves, tied with Saros now for Buffalo in 1970. Mario Lessard for the LA Kings in 1981.
Okay.
And the leader with the most saves ever in a game in NHL history is Ron Tugnut. Great last name. Love it. 70 saves for the Quebec Nordiques in 1991.
Oh. Yeah, there you go.
So if the Canes could have just put up 6 more shots,
and
Saros could have been in the top of the history books.
Yeah. Yep. I totally remember that now. That was great.
All right. I know what I'm getting you for Christmas, Rich. I'm getting you a Ron Tugnut Quebec Nordiques jersey.
Yes. I would love that.
I got to find it somewhere. I might have to get it customized.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
You deserve it, though.
It's awesome, right?
All right. Do you have another one on your list before I get down to I got 2 more. I'm going in chronological order here, so.
Well, I do have, before you give your last 2, I will give one more that was really good, and it happened toward the end of the season, was all of the youngsters beating the Boston Bruins at Boston.
I've got that one on my list too, Rich. You're like stealing my list right now.
That was a great win against a very awesome team. So that was definitely one of the memorable ones for me.
I got to give a shout out to Mike Twitter here. He says one day I'll run into Chad at a game. All right, so Mike Twitter. First of all, if you come down to Nashville, I might run into you. We gotta coordinate that. But I have a bucket list. I want to go to every NHL arena. I know you're up near New Jersey. So maybe it's tough because when you're playing the Eastern Conference arenas, you only get that one date per season. Mm-hmm. But it would be really fun to make a trip. And I've already thought about this. It might not be this coming season, but in the future for sure. I would love to make a full trip out of it where I can go to a Devils Preds game and make a vacation out of it. So we will try to make it happen. I would love to see you, man, at a game.
While you're there, you might as well just go see a Rangers game.
If it works out that way, I would love to do
Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's a mecca.
I know, right?
Madison Square Garden is the mecca of sports arenas. I would love to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you stole another one of mine, Rich. March 28th against Boston.
Yep.
This was another moment in the season for me where it kind of felt like the run was over for the Preds. Like they were done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yossi was out of the lineup by this point. That was my surrender right there, was when he was out. The schedule was daunting, the remaining schedule for the Preds.
We talked about it. I even said that I didn't think they'd win any of the last 8 games, and they proved me definitely wrong. So
it was tough. I mean, it was a really tough way to close out the schedule, and the schedule always balances out. The Preds had a good little stretch of a couple weeks where they played some weaker teams, and they stacked up some wins, so it always catches up to you.
Yep.
And so going into this game against Boston, I mean, no one gave them a chance. The only thing you were hoping for is that Boston might rest some guys and whatnot. And I can't remember, did they rest some guys in this game? I can't remember.
No, they did have I think Patrice Bergeron maybe didn't play, and David Krejci might have not played, but they had Pasternak and Marchand, and all the big boys were playing. So
yeah. And it was a very defensive type of game. Mm-hmm. You're talking about it took forever for even Cody Glass to break through with the first goal in the second period. Saros makes 35 saves on 36 shots, and he should have had the shutout. His shutout was spoiled in the last 2 seconds.
Yep.
Pasternak gets a goal. I remember being greedy at that point. I just wanted the shutout for Saros. And even though I knew the Preds already had the win locked up, I was kind of really upset that Saros lost the shutout against the mighty Bruins. So you got to put that up there as one of your top wins of the season for sure.
Yep. That was a good one.
I've got one more, and this comes in April.
All right.
And it's April 10th against the Calgary Flames, because even though the Predators ultimately ended up missing the playoffs, they got eliminated on their day off. That's what hurts the most. That's what hurts the most. The Predators didn't get eliminated because they lost a game in real time. They lost on their day off.
Yep.
That hurt.
Nothing you can do
really
about
bad. Nothing you can do about it. But they beat the Flames on April 10th to eliminate the Flames. One of the other two teams that they were, down the stretch there, it was Jets, Flames, Preds.
Yep.
And the Preds were the heavy underdogs to overtake either one of those two teams.
Yep.
And it felt kind of good because that game on April 10th against the Flames felt like a play-in game.
Yes.
The NBA does it. The NBA does these play-in games. March Madness, college basketball does it. You do these play-in games. That felt like the NHL couldn't have organized it any better. It felt like a playoff game. It felt like a play-in game to get into the playoffs. And somehow the Predators went out and won that game in shootout fashion.
Yep. That's right. Yep. Yeah, that was a good one. It was one of the two teams, that's for sure. That was great. That was a great win. I was looking through the schedule. There was another one that was good. They beat the Sabres 7-3 in March. That was a good win.
That was a good one. Yeah.
I remember that. But
also on that win against the Flames, real quick, Rich, before you go on, was Igor Afanasyev scored his first career NHL goal in that game.
Yep.
And of course, Tommy Novak got the game-winning goal in the shootout. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I was just looking through. I don't remember how many points they were shy of getting into the playoffs, but I see some of these games like where they lost to Chicago and they lost to Arizona, stuff like that. Just kind of that's like gets into the what if thing that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But there were some good games this season for sure. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right, so those are our top 5 wins. All right, Rich, out of all those that we just discussed, what would you say is the best win
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's the one
against Boston?
Yeah,
I'm right there with you, man.
Just because Boston was just like dominating everybody, and I think Brad Marchand, I think even said, I think we overlooked them, so we didn't play our best. So
I think that is the pinnacle of how hard these younger players worked to make something happen. They left it all out there. They left it all out there. They busted their tails. The same thing happened against Calgary. You're seeing a common theme with a lot of these wins that we just listed is you're talking about games where the team left it all out there.
Yes.
And there's some losses this year where they left it all out there. And it was you never want to lose, but there were some games where you came out of it thinking, man, this team left it all out there at least.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't ever say that they didn't try their hardest, because they sure did. Toward the end of the season was just incredible what they were, if you think about it, just what they were able to accomplish with what they had. So yeah, it was good. Not how we wanted this season to end, but it was still good.
We're about to tell you about one of our sponsors we have back. That's Raycon Global, Raycon Wireless Earbuds. Before we really start telling you about them, let's get you an update on the Kraken and Stars. It was 4-2 after the first period. I mean,
still 4-2.
Just crazy. Now, all right, the teams have slowed down a little bit on their scoring. Still 4-2 Kraken over the Stars. Just because I love to really – oh, wow. Eeli Tolvanen has 0 points, even though the Seattle Kraken have scored 4 goals. What do you think about that, Rich?
I don't know. It's incredible. He's been playing really well during the playoffs.
Yeah. I was being a little sarcastic there.
The E word.
Ottinger's got 14 saves on 18 shots. So both goaltenders have been rocked a little bit here in this first period, after the first period, but things seem to be settling down a little bit. We'll keep watching that game. Game 1, second round of the Western Conference. Kraken got a 4-2 lead on the Dallas Stars. Of course, my original pick was in preseason. I got 2 different picks here. So preseason, before the season started, I had the Canes beating the Avs on this very podcast. Well, obviously, I've lost the Avs.
Yep.
But we did a bracket a couple episodes ago. We did our brackets, and I switched to Canes over Stars. So
Canes. Well,
we'll see.
There you go. So my bracket never did go through. I never could get it set on the website or whatever, but I think I had Boston and Colorado.
It's okay.
So that's
we'll blame it on Gary Bettman and his horrible NHL app. So that's the bracket challenge. It glitched out like crazy, man.
It did definitely glitch out.
We'll blame it on that. All right. Let's tell you about Raycon. Raycon's back with us as a sponsor. We're really happy about that. If you don't know about Raycon, they have amazing wireless earbuds, wireless speakers, perfect for today's type of atmosphere. Everyone has the earbuds. You need some affordable earbuds. Let's face it, with coffees starting at $5, yes, even without any customizations. First of all, I drink my coffee black with a splash of milk, so I don't really know about all these little Starbucks macchiatos and frappuccinos and whatnot. But even without any customations, and our bank account somehow always depleting, we are officially entering a dupe session. Most products do the same thing, but are priced differently solely based on the brand name. So a good duplicate or dupe is crucial for getting the highest quality at the best price. One dupe you definitely shouldn't sleep on: Raycon wireless earbuds. So you're overspending for these wireless earbuds. You got Raycon, which is an outstanding alternative for a great price. Raycon is a premium audio at the perfect price point, so you can listen to what you want, when you want, without breaking the bank. So you're trying to save money here and there, but you got to have your earbuds, Rich. Everyone's got to have their earbuds. They're so important for Bluetooth. If you're riding down the road, you got to have the handheld. You can't be driving down the road with your phone in your hand. You got to have your earbuds for Bluetooth. You got to have it for podcasts just like this. You got to have it for so many great things. If you're going to the gym, wireless earbuds is where it's at. Raycon can come in for you just like that without breaking the bank. Raycon's mission is to prove that you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for quality sound and essential smart tech listening features. You can get a pair and a spare and still pay less than you would with some of those other more big name tech brands out there. Raycon knows that in the economy, every purchase needs to be perfect. They offer buy now, pay later options. Right now, you can pay as low as $18 at checkout. They have an easy and free return guarantee. They offer 2 years of product protection insurance for just a few bucks. They offer free domestic shipping and flat fee international shipping. And they have over 50,000 5-star reviews. That sounds pretty good.
That is good.
That's a lot of 5-star reviews.
That's important.
My favorite part about Raycon earbuds are the wireless tap functions. Mm-hmm. So you can just tap with your finger to control the volume, to mute it, to skip, do whatever you got to do. That's the best mode. They've got the customized gel tips for the perfect, most comfortable in-ear fit. That's amazing. And also, if you're hanging out by the pool, water and sweat resistant.
That's important.
So many amazing features, 8 hours of playtime, every day earbuds. So go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/THPN. We are very happy to have Raycon back on board with the Hockey Podcast Network and with Catfish and Ice Podcast with their amazing wireless audio products.
Raycon.
We're going to tell you about DraftKings here in a little bit as well with our own promo code with them. You all know about DraftKings very well by now. And we still got some awesome offers. All right, Rich, let's get to our what-if scenarios for the Preds.
All right.
And I'm going to throw you a heater right to get us going here.
I'm ready.
And I want you to fully talk about, we do this all the time in daily life. What if? Yep. And I know it's not always a good thing to do. Like, you can't worry about what ifs because you can't control what if. No. But when we're talking about sports and everything that happened with the Preds this past season, I think we can talk about some what ifs here. Yep. I think it's fair.
Absolutely.
So here's the first one.
Here's the first one.
What if Philip Forsberg doesn't have a season-ending injury on February 11th? We just did chronologically the best wins of the season. So we went through the season from October to April. But February 11th, so midway through the season, basically, a little past midway, Forsberg goes out with that really, really scary head injury against the Islanders. At the time, it was, to watch it on TV, man, was
I thought he
really,
yeah.
It was not fun to watch at all. It was rough.
Yeah. He did not know where he was, for sure. Yeah, that was ugly.
Throughout the season after that, there was all this speculation of he's getting closer, he's day to day, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I was saying all season, do not bring this dude back unless you are a 110% sure he is ready to go. And I think the organization made absolutely the right decision to not bring him back.
Yeah, I agree. That was smart on their part. So what if Philip Forsberg hadn't got injured? Well, I'm looking at several of these losses between February the 11th and the end of the season. And all of these 1-goal losses by the Predators probably could have swung the other way if he'd have been in the lineup. And that's going to pick you up some more points. and you probably would have made it into the playoffs. Even if it was half of the games where they lost by 1 point, if they could have won those, I think they would have made it in. And he's definitely could have factored into that. So,
well, I mean, as much as we love the young players who played so well,
yep,
this team lost a lot of offense. They had to lean on UC Saros way more than even normal, which they always have to. Even when Forsberg was in the lineup, they had to lean on Saros, but even more so. And I know that a lot of fans, rightfully so, are starting to really be upset with these overpaid veterans. We've talked about it, but you can't argue the fact that if Forsberg's in this lineup, the Preds are definitely scoring a few more goals. The power play is doing a little bit better, probably. And if nothing else, opposing teams have to readjust their defensive strategy when a Philip Forsberg is on the ice, if nothing else.
Yep. Yeah.
So Forsberg, before the injury, Forsberg had 42 points in 50 games. Yep. Here's what's crazy. Only in 50 games of playing time. This kind of gives you an idea of the roster turnover the Predators went through here. If you don't already know this, Rich, it might blow your mind a little bit. He only played 50 games this season, had 42 points. He still finished fourth on the team in points and second on the team in goals in 50 games.
Yep.
He was riding a 3-game point streak. I know that's not a long streak, but he was riding a 3-game point streak going into this game against Philly. He was on a goal drought. Only had 1 goal in 8 games going into that game where he got hurt against Philly. But we all know that Forsberg is a very streaky scorer.
Yes.
That's where February came from, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it wouldn't have been in February, but for the sake of this what if segment, if Forsberg doesn't go down there and he makes it through the entire season, he definitely wins some games for the Predators down the stretch. Enough games to probably overtake the Winnipeg Jets. And we're in the first round. Would that meant that we're going to get past the first round? Probably not. And that was before the trade deadline. That was 3 weeks before the trade deadline. Who knows how that would have affected the trade deadline?
Yep.
That's another thing to think about, Rich. If Forsberg doesn't go down, would that have changed how the Preds approach the trade deadline? We'll never know. That's the fun of this what if topic.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Never know. Never know. Never will know.
Following that injury to Forsberg on February 11th, the Preds lost 4-2 to the Coyotes, 5-0 to the Bruins. They did beat the Panthers 7-3, but then they lost to the Minnesota Wild. Then they kind of got a weak part of the schedule. They beat up on Vancouver, San Jose, and Arizona. So immediately following the game, that Arizona game really sticks out. That first game without Forsberg, losing 4-2.
Yes.
That game sticks out big time without Forsberg.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right, Rich, how about you tell us about the trade deadline? What if? Tell us.
What if they had never gotten rid of Matthias Ekholm? Do you think he was a big enough factor, and could he have helped them with Carrier going down injured, Roman Josi going down injured? But they would have never gotten Tyson Barrie.
Yeah, I think more or less about out of the 4 players that they traded at the deadline. So you're talking Tanner Jeannot, Nino Niederreiter, Mikael Granlund, Matthias Ekholm.
Yep.
Out of the 4, the one that I actually think hurt the most, as far as maybe out of those 4, I'm going to say Nino Niederreiter, actually. And that might throw some people off with that one. Because Nino Nino Niederreiter at least has that veteran experience to do things. I still think they made the right decision to trade all four of them.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're just thinking short term here. We're thinking short term. What if? We're not saying whether it was the right decision or not. We're just thinking short term. What if type of scenarios. Out of those four, in terms of the Preds trying to make the playoffs, I actually think that Nino Niederreiter.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to say Tanner Jeannot, but the problem with the Predators wasn't not being tough enough down the stretch or not being this or that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Tanner Jeannot makes a big enough difference if you keep him. You don't
so.
have Cal. Well, you don't have Cal Foote.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But I'm thinking Nino Niederreiter.
Yeah.
That was a second round pick. You didn't get a player in return for him. So you essentially lost a player in your starting lineup in the short term.
Yeah.
By trading away Nino Niederreiter. And I think it was a good move. To get a second round pick out of Nino Niederreiter, I think it's great. Yeah. So I'm not against it, but I do wonder if Niederreiter is in the lineup down the stretch, does he score a couple clutch goals? Does he does he give us that veteran two-way experience down the stretch to maybe win a couple extra games for the Preds? Maybe. Even more so than Ekholm, actually. I know that I'm probably in the minority there when I say that. But
yeah. Well, Ekholm apparently started playing really well after he left or whatever.
What's up, Lindsay?
Hey. It's our friend from Calgary.
We have not seen Lindsay in a while. Lindsay, forgive us for talking about the Preds eliminating the Flames from playoff contention. Calgary. Ultimately, we love both of our teams, even though they didn't make the playoffs.
Calgary lost their coach. Got fired. So, yeah. So out of all the four guys at the trade deadline that they lost, like your heart misses Matthias Ekholm because everybody loves
for sure. It was so weird.
But I do agree with losing Nino Niederreiter. It was necessary, I guess, and for what they got back in return. But I was really hoping that he would stick around and have a better career with Nashville than he did. I liked him.
It was so weird. I think someone shared it on Facebook or something, and but they shared a pic of Ekholm hugging Arvidsson in the handshake line. Did you see?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that stings a little bit, but
Lindsay jumps in. She's a Flames fan, a big Flames fan. She says it's all good. It's been a heck of an offseason for us and a really bad season. Yeah. Well, join the club.
Yep.
That's the thing about being a hockey fan is we're all kind of in that same boat in a way.
Yeah. You definitely get disappointed.
Mike Twitter jumps in and says, well, we did end up liking Tyson. I like Tyson Barrie from the start.
I do. I like him a lot.
I mean, I'm not going to say that he's a Matthias Ekholm and he's completely replacing him. All I'm saying is I appreciate Tyson Barrie. He's a true professional.
Yep.
I like how he buzzes around on the power play. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm thinking into next season about Tyson Barrie. If nothing else, I really hope that Tyson Barrie comes blazing out of the gates this coming up season and boost his trade value, and the Preds can get a haul for him at the deadline for a team who really wants him. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
That'd be good.
I don't think he's a long-term Nashville Predator, probably.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. It'd be cool, though, if he could. I like him. He was one of the few veterans left on the team at the end of the season, like veteran as far as time in the NHL.
Well, especially on the defensive core.
Oh, yeah. They were. Whew.
If you think about the defensive core down there at the end, you got Tyson Barrie, you got Ryan McDonough. He did come back as well, so we can't leave him out. But your other four defensemen were all very inexperienced and young and not being forced into the chemistry you're trying to find with these defensive pairings were really difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I'm sorry, Rich. I'm going to bring up the E word here, but we have to. We have to.
Yeah.
We have to. What if Tolvanen stays with Nashville? He's not put on waivers. Because I think we can both agree, as much as you hate talking about it, we can both agree that it was a really horrible decision in hindsight. No pun intended.
It was
on
very hindsight. Yeah, it was strange. Yeah, to sit and think that nobody would pick him up. Yeah, had he not been traded, I think you'd still have the same.
You don't think he's a big enough factor to where it would have like propelled the Predators into the playoffs?
I don't. I think by that point he was just frustrated with Nashville. Felt like to me. Change of scenery definitely did that dude some good for sure.
So I'm kind of like I'm on the same page with you here, and I'm going to expand it even more. I think that Tolvanen was a product of his system more than anything. He needed to be on a team that fits his skill set more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know that's a big indictment on John Hines because his system, it does not really lend itself to the type of player Tolvanen is.
Yep.
He wants those rugged guys that are going to bash you into the boards and they're going to rough you up, and we're going to put up 30, 40 hits a game. We're going to win on the penalty kill. We're going to win on goaltending. We're going to win on forechecking. But that's why so many fans are so frustrated and they want Hines out. And that's where I do understand where they're coming from here.
Yep.
Is you can't do that anymore in this league very often. There are a few teams that get away with it. But for the most part, you got to win with speed. You got to win with things of that nature. You got to win with offensive talent, like raw talent. And Tolvanen does have that. He has an excellent shot.
Yeah, he's playing in the playoffs right now. So
it wasn't the right fit, unfortunately. It just wasn't.
I think it was, he did have opportunities to excel in Nashville. He played really well a couple seasons ago, got hurt. But John Hines has not ever been a coach that keeps his lines together very long. And I think that hurt Tolvanen as well. He didn't have any consistency. Hines is like, hey, if something doesn't work for a couple games, I'm switching stuff up. And I don't think that's always one of his.
And it doesn't excuse weaknesses. The fact. It doesn't excuse the fact that you should have never lost him on waivers for nothing. Yes. If you really did, here's where I'm upset about it. It's not the fact that Eeli Tolvanen no longer wears a Nashville Predators uniform. It's the fact that you lost him on waivers and you give us this excuse of, oh, we didn't think he was going to clear waivers. We thought that's a little unfortunate that he cleared waivers.
Yeah.
Or that he didn't clear waivers. Come on now. Anyone who was a casual hockey fan knew that Eeli Tolvanen was not going to clear waivers, most likely.
Yeah.
And somebody was going to scoop him up.
And even the stretches when he didn't play good, he still showed signs of being a great player. Like
a two-way player.
You could always see like the potential. And in Seattle definitely
they probably gave up on they definitely gave up on him too fast.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another what if scenario you have to worry about. Our last what if scenario before we get to it, we're going to tell you about DraftKings because DraftKings has another amazing offer for all of our listeners right now. So we're going to tell you about that. Light the lamp. During the hockey playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, right now, new customers can make a $5 bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. So right now, we got the second round of the playoffs coming up. We're already kind of talking about right now about the second round when it comes to the Leafs. They're down 4-2 on the Maple Leafs in game one. You got the Kraken and the Stars playing. The Kraken are up 4-2. Let's talk about Canes and Devils when it comes to our DraftKings promo code. Promo code THPN with our promo code. You can take the Canes. You can take the Devils with our promo code. You also got the Golden Knights taking on the Oilers in the second round of the Western Conference. So you know what? You got two really amazing matchups to use our promo code right now. And here's how you do it. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can make a $5 hockey playoff bet and score $150 in bonus bets instantly. So all you have to do is place a bet on one of those 4 teams. You don't even have to win your bet. Just place it, and you get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit Gambling Helpline right now and in New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and up in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for offer details. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
You did that like a champ.
I tried. I'm calling. So game one, if I'm doing my DraftKings Sportsbook bet on game one, take it for what you will. I'm taking Edmonton in game one against Vegas, and I am actually going to take the Devils in game one.
Wow. That's huge. All right. I like it.
So that's what I got.
It wouldn't hurt my feelings.
I got Oilers and Devils to take game one in their respective series. So we'll see how that goes.
It definitely wouldn't hurt my feelings any.
Here's my last what-if scenario, our last what-if scenario for the Preds from this past season. What if Tommy Novak starts the season in Nashville? You can't help but bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, what a season that guy had, man. I mean, he played so well, and he deserves to definitely be on the roster day one next season. Yeah, I mean, I think that's another factor that he.
That's another stain on John Hines right now.
Yeah.
Why didn't you start this guy? And it's not just John Hines, but David Poile had a part in it as well.
Yeah.
We don't know behind closed doors what kind of talks there were on Tommy Novak, but it seems like neither one of them thought that Novak should start the season in Nashville. It's a huge swing and a miss to not start him because you're talking about a player who had already done some good things the season before in 20-plus games. It's not like he had never played an NHL game and no one knew what they had with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he did in Milwaukee. He played a little bit the season before, enough to where a lot of people were saying he needs to start the season in Nashville. He doesn't. And then you don't start him until December 19th, that game against Edmonton, that season-changing game that I was talking about.
Yep.
That was in one of our top 5 wins of the Preds season. Novak made his season debut in that game.
Yep.
So he doesn't start till 2 months into the regular season and ends up finishing third on the team in points with 43.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to that stretch where he wasn't playing, these losses where they only lost by a goal. He could have factored into those. And that
is an amazing accomplishment for such a young player of his that he is.
Yeah.
To finish third on the team in points when he didn't start. I know there were a lot of injuries down the stretch that helped him finish third in points and a lot of trades.
Mm-hmm.
But still, even with all that in mind, for him to be such a young player and to not make his season debut till over halfway through December, and he ends up rallying to finish the season with 43 points and finishing third on the Predators.
Yep.
Amazing accomplishment by Tommy Novak. So
what
if, for me, if he starts the season in Nashville, it kind of goes along with all these other what if scenarios. He probably factors in maybe a couple more wins early in the season. And when you fall up 3 points short, that's when these what ifs really sting. That's why we're doing this segment tonight, because when you fall 3 points, it's one thing if the Preds were like 10 points, 15 points out. Yeah. They were down there with like St. Louis or San Jose or Columbus, or they were so far out that it didn't matter. But when you fall 3 points shy, you can't help but think about these what-if scenarios. Tommy Novak not starting the season in Nashville is a major it might be the biggest what-if scenario.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the losses, even if they would have won a quarter, it doesn't even have to be a quarter of them. You're in the playoffs. You get only Tommy Novak. If he would have played earlier, there's, and he factors in winning 2-3 games. You're almost in the playoffs.
Just by common average here, let's say that he keeps up his normal pace of what he did this season. He 43 points since December 19th. I mean, it's pretty fair to say 43 points in 51 games. He was just shy of being a point per game player. Yep. If he starts the season in Nashville and he even does half of that pace, let's say he does half of that pace.
Yeah.
You're talking about him factoring into multiple goals, several goals. And there's plenty of close games early in the season where the Preds could have gotten a couple extra points in the standings. You'll never know. We'll never know, but it's major. And it's a big swing and a miss by both Hines and Poyle that they did not start him to begin the season.
Yep.
It's a hard one to swallow.
It is. Yep. I like him. He's one of my favorites.
So it's time, Rich, to end this episode, I should say, on a high note.
Yep.
Like Dan High Note, who's
a great fun stuff?
Like Dan High Note.
Yeah. Dan
High Note, the great assistant coach. Let's keep the puns coming here.
Well, it's good stuff. They do it on the TV coverage.
In hindsight, let's finish on a high note.
There you go.
Ooh,
in hindsight.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. First of all, I got to check in on the Milwaukee Admirals. Aren't they playing tonight? Or they play tomorrow night? Game 3.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with them.
They're tied 1-1 in their series right now.
There you go.
Or So game 3 is tomorrow night.
Got all the youngsters back.
Against the Manitoba Moose.
It's funny.
Gotta love that name.
The Moose.
We are going to throw at the end of the audio version of this podcast that you can download tomorrow. I had a conversation with Aaron Sims, the radio announcer of the Milwaukee Admirals. Aaron Sims is someone you have to follow if you are into our Milwaukee Admirals, the affiliate of the Nashville Predators. And a lot of those same Preds that we're talking about are now trying to win a Calder Cup for the Milwaukee Admirals. Really cool stuff.
Yep.
I love following the Admirals on Twitter because they share a lot of cool stuff. So they shared a really cool pic the other day of a watch party in Milwaukee, and it was a bunch of Admirals fans, but you saw a lot of Admirals fans that were also wearing Preds gear, so that was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Mark Jankowski's out there now. You got Michael McCarron's out there, of course, Luke Evangelista, Igor Afanasiev, of course, Yaroslav Askarov's in net for them. A lot of these key Preds players who played NHL games for the Preds this season are now playing for the Admirals to try to win a Calder Cup. So that's really, really cool stuff.
Love it. They're doing some big press conference tomorrow for the Milwaukee Admirals. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. We actually got to dive into that because people are drawing between the lines and they're trying to say that John Hines isn't invited.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, it's Poyle and Trotz and Sean Henry. They're all going to be up there for some kind of announcement. So
interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yep. No telling what it is.
All right, so here's our first. We got 3 good things, videos to close out this episode. Heartwarming, good stuff. The first one is hockey related, and it is related to Snoop Dogg.
Oh, there's something
Snoop
you don't
Doggy Dog.
put two things together very much. But.
All right. So here we go. Let me pull it up here for our viewers. Snoop Dogg is getting in the hockey game is what's happening.
Yeah, I saw that. So
let's get it up on the stream here. It was on First Take on ESPN. Snoop Dogg. Let's play it.
Let's see here.
See you and you got your Lakers in it. I know you're fired up, but talk to me about this. So on your IG yesterday, you said amazing what Nico Sparks is trying to do in Ottawa. I'm looking forward to being a part of that ownership team. I want to bring hockey to our community. So Snoop, what's your biggest motivation behind this?
Well, I've been watching hockey for about 25 years now, and I'm watching more and more, kids that look like me play the game, but I'm not seeing it being offered to the kids over here in America. I know how big it is in Canada. And I've been, down with the NHL for a long time, going to games, announcing games, being a part of the society. So this opportunity came in order for me to be a part of the ownership of the Ottawa Senators. So I jumped on it. And then the plan that we have is to also go and build a Snoop Youth Hockey League outside of Canada. So kids in urban communities can learn about hockey, can play the sport, and find a way into this, great thing that's called hockey. Because right now the NBA and the NHL is having some great playoff games, and the kids need to know that there is an option to play hockey if you look like me.
That's awesome.
That is good. Yep. He probably would really like to buy the LA Kings if that was available, but
very true. But I think any way you can grow the sport of hockey, it's okay by me. And the fact that he's trying to get the youth involved, you're trying to give kids out there, because hockey is a very hard sport to find.
It is.
It's definitely growing, and it's growing all around the country, and that's amazing. But there are certain parts of the country where hockey's just not available, or people don't, younger kids don't know about hockey. So the more you can teach kids about hockey and make it available to everyone who wants to play hockey, it's an amazing thing. It's a good thing for the youth. It's great that Snoop Dogg is doing something like that. He's, there's a lot of people trying to buy the Senators right now. You've got Ryan Reynolds, the actor, who wants him. We'll see what happens. I saw some chatter out there about, well, we don't want Snoop Dogg to buy the Senators because it sounds like he's not keeping Ottawa in mind. He's going to move the team or something like that.
But he's just the face and putting up some money. There's a bunch of other people involved in it as well.
Exactly. And if he's doing the things that he's saying he's doing in that clip, as far as getting youth hockey available to these kids, and they can give these kids an option to do something productive and something good, that's really what youth sports is all about, in all sports.
Yeah, for sure. And for kids who want to play hockey, hockey gear is expensive. You can go to Walmart and buy you a basketball for $20, or you can buy a football for $20, and you can go play those sports. But you cannot, even if you want to go rollerblade and play hockey outside, it's still expensive to get into it. And, if you can come up with some opportunities to get some gear for these kids, man, I mean, that's great. That's all for it. Anything to grow the sport.
Definitely.
For sure.
All right, we're going to break away from hockey here. I got some. So I'm a sucker for animal videos, Rich. I think you probably know
funny.
that.
They're funny.
I love them. So we're going to get on the screen here. Here's our first one. You got a couple little, I think they're muskrats. I don't know if that's what you call them. Have you seen this video, Rich?
I think I did, but I don't remember what those things are.
All right, we're gonna share it for the.
I don't know what those are. I don't think they're muskrats. They look like well, they're not prairie dogs. I don't know what they are.
All right, we're gonna share it for the crowd. This is I'm gonna preface this by saying for our viewers here on YouTube and stuff, that this is someone trying to perfect the art of playing dead. That's what this little critter is about to try to do.
We can't stop laughing. We cannot take our eyes off of these mongoose.
Mongoose.
They are having a wrestling match, and look, we've got someone who's quite interested in the sighting too. Not only us, it's the hornbill that I was telling you about. Chase it away.
Oh.
Has it just pretended to be dead? Oh, that was amazing.
Oh.
I can't. How
That's hilarious.
That is hands down the coolest.
That's great. I think that mongoose could take that bird though.
I think the bird needs. I think first of all, okay, it's a mongoose. I think the mongoose needs to work on his play dead tricks a little bit more because the bird was not falling for it at all.
Yeah, I think that mongoose could take that bird though. Those things fight snakes, so they're pretty mean, from what I understand.
I mean, how freaking adorable is that though?
That was good, and we obviously don't know our animals, so
no.
I'm like, it's a gopher.
We need to have a whole episode on animals apparently, because I said it was a muskrat. What'd you say it was? A prairie dog?
I said a prairie dog. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay, I got another good animal in here.
Is it a kitty cat?
There's a cat involved in this one.
Oh, there you go.
There's a cat involved in this one. Let's get it on the screen here. All right, we got a mama deer and a fawn. Have you seen this one, Rich?
I don't remember. It looks familiar, but
oh my god, it's so adorable. Let's get into it here.
Hi, Otto. What are you doing?
So we got this cat strolling in like he runs everything.
As cats do. He just wants a friend.
I think the cat walked up saying, "I run things around here."
Yeah. This is my house.
Just wait for it. Wait for it.
Cats are hateful.
Here's the doggy. Cat's gone.
Corny, you just spooked everybody.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The dog's curious. The dog's totally curious. Here's what I can't get over. Here's what I can't get over about this video.
Corny, come.
I'm so surprised that the mama deer is not worried about the dog.
Corny.
Yeah. Not at all. She's not worried about anything. She's eating. She's like, go play with your friend. That's awesome.
How adorable is that?
That
gives me faith in all of the world. And you know what it makes me wonder? Not to get too philosophical here. Why can't we as humans get along with each other better? Because you see animals, and it's nature, and there's a food chain, and I get all that, but when you see stuff like that,
it's good to
warms your heart.
It's better to look at things like that on the internet than the bajillion other horrible things that are on there.
Oh, I waste so much time, and I don't want to say waste because it actually sets up my day in a much better mindset, but I can waste the first 30 minutes of my day watching videos like that just to get the right mindset. You know, It is the good thing about social media is videos like that.
Yep. It's one good saving grace is you get to see cool stuff like that.
So that's how we wanted to send you off here for Catfish on Ice episode 183. If you're listening on the podcast right now and you didn't see the 3 videos we just shared, well, just go to YouTube, go to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe while you're there. Catfish on Ice podcast. Also, you can hit us up on Facebook where we also share our live streams. Catfish on Ice. Also, you can go to Twitter at Catfish Ice. All of our live streams go on those 3 social media platforms. I'm sure you got one of them, if not all 3. So go check us out there if you're listening on the audio version. Also, you can watch live streams of our podcast and comment and get in on the live discussions with some of our amazing viewers like Lindsay, Mike Twitter, all these great people, Max Greenberg. We have so many countless numbers of viewers who talk hockey with us on live episodes, especially during the season. especially during the regular season. We do live watch-alongs, all that good stuff. So if you're listening right now on one of your favorite podcast platforms and you want to watch it live and watch some of these fun videos we share, just go find us on one of those social media platforms. We really appreciate everybody. It's been a blast. This has been episode 183 of Catfish on Ice podcast, presented by DraftKings and Raycon with promo code THPN. Rich, I hope you have a good night, man.
You too, man. Have a good one.
We will see you later
Go
on
Preds.
in the offseason. We got to get ready for the draft. We got to get ready for all kinds of stuff. But until then, enjoy the Stanley Cup playoffs. Enjoy all this amazing hockey. We will see you for the next episode later on in the offseason. Take it easy.
Have a good one.